I swear our goodbyes always the same.
So now my understanding is that the record kind of got its gestation as some field recordings done at some cottage somewhere. Is that true?
Yeah, we started it off. Yeah, it kind of became, I wouldn't say field recordings, more like we set up a studio in the cottage, and that's where we kind of began the process. We wanted to just get out of Brighton, and we've been touring quite a lot,
right,
beforehand, so we just wanted to find somewhere and kind of call it home for a couple of weeks, or it turned out to be a couple of months in the end. But
why did it turn into a couple of months?
Well, because of the lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah, we planned on being there for, what was it, like 3 weeks?
3 weeks, yeah. We stayed for like 2 and a bit months, I think.
It's because basically, because it was an Airbnb,
yeah,
we'd rented it for 3 weeks, and then the landlady, she basically said, well, all my clients have they can't come because of COVID, they can't travel. So if you want to stay, go for it, because I can't sell it. No one
sure.
can
Yeah. There's no renting it out.
Cool, this is fine with us.
So was it a plus ultimately that happened? Was it a good thing?
Yeah, it was amazing. But also I think we probably stayed there a bit too long.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't the most comfortable place to be sort of cooped up. It was such a beautiful like cottage, but it was kind of probably made for like 3 people, and there was 4 of us. So
well, that's
it was just a 1-bedroom cottage, so if designed for couples, I guess, like on holiday, and there was 4 of us, and they're like working.
Not for bands.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, we all went a little bit mad, but I feel it was a good thing in hindsight.
Very good. So what happened after you got out of the cottage? Where did it go from there?
We went for a long walk.
and then I think we went back to our parents' house in Cornwall for a couple of weeks, and we recorded all the vocals there.
At your parents' house?
In our mum's laundry cupboard.
Yeah, they live kind of close to where the cottage was, so we finished lockdown at their house.
And then we came back to Brighton and kind of did loads of finishing touches, basically.
Coloring in.
Gotcha. So Jack, you do kind of the producing end of things, is that right? And do you have when you do that, I mean, it could mean anything these days. Do you have like a vision or how you think things are going to sound, or how do you approach your job as the producer?
I think for these songs, Lily and I had demoed quite a lot of them, so I think we had an idea of how they wanted to sound, definitely already.
Right.
But I think like technically for me, for this album, I really wanted to try my hardest, like with the engineering side of it. So like making sure everything was like mic'd properly, and we didn't really take many shortcuts. Like we wanted to make sure things were done, like efficiently.
Totally.
Basically. So that was always in my mind for this album, just to try my hardest, like, because it's not like it's all kind of self-taught stuff, really, like all the producing side of it. I'm not very like scientific with it. It's more just like my ears and what sounds good. So it's like trial and error a lot of the time. I wanted to make sure did it the best we could, basically.
And what kind of discussions did you have between the two of you as to how, like, did you go back and forth as this is what I had in mind when I wrote it, and this is what I have in mind when I hear it?
Probably texturally a little bit, but I think mainly we were talking about what was going to be for dinner that night.
Good. Well, you got your priorities right. That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Jack's very good at. Jack's more experienced than I'm in a lot of those things, so I kind of get everything I can get across in my demos.
Right.
Like very much just like MIDI instruments like in my room.
Right.
And then I think that's probably enough for Jack to sort of go, okay, like, let's make this like a real life thing. So yeah, I think that's kind of the way we communicate. I communicate it to Jack best, to be honest.
Okay. All right.
And I just thought takes it from there.
You had somebody named Fiona doing some strings and things. Tell me
Yeah,
about-
Fiona Price.
Yeah.
She plays violin for Placebo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, it was amazing. We just sent her like, I think it was about 5 tunes or 4 or 5 songs that we imagined strings being on. There was only probably one of those songs that we had a kind of definite idea of what we wanted with the strings, and the rest of them we were just like, okay, like we imagined strings like you do you kind of thing. And like
Right.
like that was the first time I think we've ever opened the doors for our songs. Like we're very kind of, protective over our stuff. And yeah, I'm glad we did it because it was an amazing experience. And like, she'd send these things back, and obviously strings have that like such a kind of magical, like emotional, like sound to them anyway. So like when we got them back, it was like pretty crazy. Like we're really happy.
Yeah, I noticed on Miss Moon, they do their thing in that one. Yeah.
In the intro, yeah, it's pretty cool.
I found last night, actually, I was going through my emails and I found like when I was first writing that on the piano in my living room, it's so funny listening to it, like just literally just like writing it.
Right.
And it's so different, like just go off on this whole other tangent as you do, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I've saved it so we can use it for some sort of documentary.
Yeah.
When we make it to number 1.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Right now, was it Peter Jackson here in New Zealand is making a big documentary about the Beatles. So.
Oh yeah, I saw the advert for that actually the other day.
Really?
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they just reissued "Let It Be" today. Like the 50th anniversary version of it or something or other. So, yeah, you never know. You see you guys raising to that level at some point. You think?
They're still just bloody selling hits, aren't they? Like,
They are indeed. Yeah. So, what kind of artists or bands kind of do you look up to? Because you're much younger than the average Beatles fan. So, yeah, who are the Beatles to you?
who the Beatles does? Well, I mean, we do love the Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatles.
Fair. Yeah, everybody.
Beatles are Beatles.
Yes, they are.
Sure. But do you know what? This question, whenever I get asked this question, I can't think of a single band. It's like a weird sort of like thing. I'm just like, I almost dread it because I knew you were going to say that, and I was like,
well, we love. We grew up obviously with brother and sister. We grew up together. Like our parents played a lot of like a band called the Magic Numbers.
Oh yeah,
British band.
Do you know the Magic Numbers?
Sure. I think I interviewed one of them once.
Nice.
Oh, that's so cool.
So yeah, they're really important to us, and our album's actually named after one of their songs, "Which Way to Happy."
Oh, okay.
We got the name
Go and
from
look. See if I've got it in the back somewhere.
their first album. We've actually become quite good friends with them because we opened up for them on a tour once, and they came to town the other night, and Lily and I jumped on and played a few songs with them at a show. But yeah, and then another band called The Thrills from Ireland.
Right.
And then Radiohead are a big influence on us.
There you go.
But yeah,
probably like more current wise, like we love bands. Kate LeBon,
Right.
Aldous Harding.
Aldous, I'll have you know that Aldous did her first ever interview right here in this room with me.
Oh, no way. That's so is she as weird as she sort of looks?
Well, so back then, in fact, you can watch it. It's on YouTube. And this is before she kind of knew who she was musically. So she was very young. She was a teenager. But even then, and you can see in the interview that we do together, because I had never met her, that there's just like, okay, who is this person I'm talking to? She's not the same as normal people, but she's an amazing person. Love her to pieces. But yeah, even then, before she even kind of knew, she was doing her early album was basically English folk. It was very traditional sounding. So it
Heard
wasn't,
that.
what she's doing, it wasn't, oh, the horizon and blah, blah, blah. And there was no grimacing. We're not as much grimacing as there is now, but yeah, she's an amazing artist. I think.
Yeah, she's so cool.
Yeah, look, I think Deer Hunter, they're a big influence for us. And then more recently, like for this record as well, like we've both dived into the world of Wilco and Jeff Tweedy. So
Oh, I love Wilco. Yep, they're a favorite. Yeah.
they're probably some
But
of our
They're very American and kind of rootsy for you guys, aren't they?
yeah, just like love that sort of
Kind of like the
whole-
more experimental side of Wilco, if I'm honest, though. The less rootsy, folky,
Yep. I know what you mean. Yeah.
rock and roll.
So how does
Yeah.
all that stuff make you sound like on this record? Do you hear it? Do you feel like there's an influence, or do you just kind of, it's in the air somewhere?
Well, I think we were both really drawn to like Jeff Tweedy's amazing sort of the sound of his songs are they're so present in your ear, like the way he amps up his guitars and the mics he uses and that sort of like acoustic sort of presentness. Like I think we were quite
just really well recorded, basically.
Yeah.
I think you especially like wanted to that inspired you like producer wise.
Yep. Well, they have their own place called The Loft, I think it is, up in Chicago somewhere.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing, man.
I remember they did like an Instagram tour of the Loft. Like, did you see that? Because it was only up for 24 hours.
Yeah, and it was like, you could ask them questions,
Yeah.
like show us like you're
That's
weird.
pretty cool.
And their fridge, like it's just full. It's just stocked with like delicious like Trader Joe's snacks. Like,
Ooh, okay, now I'm sold. Next time I go to Chicago, I'm leaving the place.
like such good stuff. And
Nice.
just like that studio's the dream, isn't it?
That's the key to a good studio, obviously. It's not the gear, it's the fridge.
Yeah, exactly. It's the fridge.
It's the fridge. Yeah, that's for me anyway.
All righty, so let's get back to your music and your record. You have a song and a video for a song called Sudoku. So, tell me about the making of that. Do you pay much attention? Do you have much to do with the videos when you?
Way to go. You might as well have left it on the floor, you know. Way to go. Numbers know their way of adding up. They grow so and so you know.
Yeah, we made the video ourselves. The guy in the
feeling
video, he's our dad.
I was hoping that was the case, but I didn't want to assume anything.
Yeah,
That's great.
it's funny with Sudoku, like we'd planned on making this kind of extravagant like this concept of me like struggling out of like, because the song's essentially about like struggle, basically, like whatever that may be, but
Right.
just as one word, if you're going to give the video a name, like kind of struggling to work stuff out or whatever. But so yeah, we thought this video of like me like climbing through these little boxes and then struggling to get through, and then at the end I would like jump off this cliff
Right.
into the sea. And then we thought, you know what, like we haven't actually got time to do that. So Lily came up with the idea of like filming Dad like building something, and we were like, oh, okay, yeah, he's going to build this paper airplane, and then he's going to fly it. So yeah, we spent like a week just with Dad in the garage, like filming it basically. Yeah, and it's probably one of my favorite videos that we've ever made.
Yeah.
And what did he
also,
think of it?
Yeah, he loves it, man. Like, and the song's like, it's a little nod to Dad as well, because he's a big Sudoku. Like he always gets a book of Sudoku for Christmas.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a Sudoku a day and has done for 20 years.
Fair enough. Cool. Now you have another song that's very different. It's called 1111, I think. So
Yeah.
what is that all about? It seems very intimate and very personal, and I don't know what 1111 means, so I'm going to ask you.
It's like it's just a thing I kind of see it all the time, and I think I've got like a slight obsession with it. I like check my watch all the time, and happen to see it when it's 11:11 all the time, and I have to make a wish, and I have to make everyone around me make a wish. It's kind of I don't know, it's like a comfort thing, I think.
Right.
Something to just sort of like try and blame all your worries on or whatever, you know. And yeah, it's just like a bit of a sad breakup song, really. Just is what it is, you know. It's just heartbreak in a song.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
And are you checking your watch all the time because you're worried about being late?
I think, yeah, I do probably check my watch when I am feeling a little bit more like stressed and anxious about stuff in life.
Right.
So I guess so. Yeah, being late, probably one of them. Punctuality. Just like, okay, wait, where are we? Like, what's happening? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
When I was at uni, like,
cool sounds in the track, though. I don't know if it was a flute or a mellotron or what was going on in there. Can you fill me in?
I
think we did have a mellotron part.
Yeah, it is mellotron. It's through. It's actually not. It's actually
some kind of sampled mellotron.
It's a string synth,
right?
Roland string synth put through a mellotron guitar pedal.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's basically a mellotron, like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a mellotron itself is just a weird
sample,
all sorts of weird sounds put together. So you can't really.
Yeah, it's quite gritty. There's a lot of like. It's almost like there's some nasty little keyboard sounds in that song, which I think like adds to the kind of flavor of the song being like quite like it's quite a disturbing song in the sense of that like someone's like, you know, Lily's obviously feeling the way she is, you know, like heartbroken or whatever. Like it's a horrible feeling, but it's also romantic. So you kind of like you've got these two like you've got the textures of the song, but then you've got like the sadness of the song kind of like all floating around, and then you got the strings kind of swirling around. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite tunes on the album.
Cool. Yeah, you guys seem to kind of you manage to mix the sadness and the happiness thing kind of. There's a lot of, well, like there's a track called Play It Cool where there's la la la's and you're feeling kind of warm and cozy. And then is that kind of how you look at your music and how you want it to affect people?
I think we're quite dynamic as people, as well as, you know, when we make songs, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I think whenever we're like, oh, I've got a new song, and then we show it to one another, like it could be like a super upbeat one or a really sad one. We do like to sort of keep, you know, mix it up a bit. So I think we both knew that the record was going to be a bit of a journey that way, because I think that's just how we are. We feel a lot.
Yeah, feeling a lot. That's good. Well, that's what it's all about. And you you got the album mixed by Dave Friedman, right?
The man.
How'd that happen?
Well, he does, obviously, like he works with like Flaming Lips really closely, and then so the Flaming Lips, they've been releasing music on Bella Union. I think the last last 3 records they've done, I think it's been on Bella. And then so Simon, who runs the labels, obviously, they're all friends of the Flaming Lips, and then Simon just sent some of our songs to Dave and was like, oh, you know, what do you think of this? Like, you know, would you be up for working with the band? And he was up for it. So man, like we obviously, like we're massive, like that MGMT record that Dave made, like,
and Mogwai as well.
Mogwai's like first album, the last album they did, like it seemed like if there was anyone to do it, like and like he really kind of, you know, I tried my best with the production, but like, you know, he's obviously who he is, and he's got all his little special tricks and toys that he put all our songs through. It's just another
bloody whole ball game, isn't it? Like mixing.
Yeah, he really brought the songs to life, like which we are very grateful for. And
so did you talk to him much about what he was going to do, or did you just kind of go, here you go, take it and see what you can?
It was very much collaborate. It was kind of like the Fiona thing. Like we just handed it over to him,
Right.
And like I was saying with Fiona, like we've always been quite like precious over like how our songs are, and it was quite a strange feeling, like almost like a negative feeling to have someone like do what they do, but you're kind of just giving it to someone like in respect, like you know that they're gonna, you like their previous work, so like you have to put trust in them. So yeah, like he would take the songs, and then because of the time difference, like whilst we were asleep, basically, like he would work on it. Yeah. And then in the morning we'd wake up and we'd have a new mix in the inbox, and then we'd have like 4 or 5 hours to like kind of make a few notes or whatever, and then he would then go to work, wake up, go to work, and then finish what we do, and then that was it. He'd print it because it's all analog, and then that would be it, and then like that's the song done, tick. And then whereas we're so used to like working digitally and be able to like just
it's revisit. Never done. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
and not only that, but because he doesn't just sort of like make your mix sound brighter or whatever. He's really creative with some of his decisions, and he does quite bold moves to the actual song. So
well, it's good that he felt comfortable enough to do that, that you guys obviously gave him kind of permission to be himself, so that's cool.
He had some quite like ballsy moves. So like we'd send back these mixes in the morning, and we would have, we'd be working on these songs for like 6 months, and then he'd send a mix back, and like he would do something really drastic, like take the bass out for a chorus, and then we'd be like, okay, we've got 2 hours to decide if like we want that or not.
Otherwise, he prints it.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh, it's Dave Friedman. Let's just bloody trust him and go with it.
Very good. So you guys have been doing gigs, right? Are you playing out these days or doing shows?
We did a socially distanced tour, which was kind of weird.
What's that exactly?
So we did it during it was basically capped shows of tables of up to 6. So normally tables of 2 to 6. And everyone wore masks, and no one was allowed to get up off their tables, and you had to order drinks to your table and like merch to your table and stuff like that, and everyone was sat down, and it was kind of weird, kind of cool, and like a weird moment in history.
We were grateful to be gigging again though after like 15 months, so it was
I can imagine.
But yeah, we've got a load of shows, like we got a bunch of shows in November, and then like we're basically touring like for like 3 months come January next year. So January, February, March we're touring.
So there's more than just you. There's other band members, is that right?
Yeah, we got like two others in the band at the moment. Henry and Joe, our rhythm section, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So I see you're doing a show on the release day in Brighton at some place at a record shop, is that right?
We're actually not anymore because
okay.
But yeah, that's a recent thing. Basically, because of the whole like vinyl delay thing, which I'm sure you're aware of.
I've been hearing about that. Yep.
Yeah, so our albums, even though it's coming out on the 5th of November, like all the physicals won't be ready till January.
Yep.
So we've basically moved like loads, like 30 dates from November all the way to January. So we're going to wait until the vinyl's there ready to sell.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day, can we come to New Zealand and come round to your house? Because it looks so nice.
Of course you can. We have bands play here all the time. We have cameras and audio gear and all that stuff. Or you can just come and have a beer. I don't care.
That looks like the ultimate just like chill pad to be locked down in.
It does have piano? What's that?
Play piano?
I don't play, but I have one. It's a lovely piano. A friend of mine, she was a Kiwi, and she had a school she called Kids on Keys, where she's teaching kids how to play. And she moved to the States, and this is her family heirloom piano. So I volunteered to keep an eye on it for her. So
it's a nice touch.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, you come along. It'll be fun.
One day, we'd love to go to New Zealand one day.
All righty. Well, in the meantime, thanks for talking to me about the record. Sounds pretty cool. Are you thinking about what you're going to do next already? Or are you just kind of, this one's not even out yet, I guess. So one step at a time.
I think like as soon as we sort of like finished it, we're like, gathering thoughts and ideas. I think we want to like make something a bit heavier,
Right.
but who knows? You know, we might come in like a year's time we've released like an Irish folk record,
Right. Or a Black Sabbath cover album.
jazz band, Penelope Isles jazz ensemble.
There you go. Sounds like fun. Go for it. Just do whatever you feel like. That's the way to.
I'll get my didgeridoo out.
I had a didgeridoo player up here the other. Oh man, it was awesome. It sounded amazing in this room. And
What's his name? Or their name?
I don't know. He was an Australian guy, obviously, and yeah, it was just it was amazing being that close to one and being like hearing it.
I know an Australian didgeridoo player called Tristan O'Meara, and I wondered whether it was him.
Well, if you look at my website at the 13th floor and search for didgeridoo, you'll probably see him. We put it all up on the video, so yeah, check it out. I don't know. It wasn't that long. It was pre-COVID, but just.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys. Great talking to you. Hopefully everything goes well with the record, the release day, and the vinyl will show up eventually, and the gigs will be good.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, dudes. Yeah, nice to meet you.
You too.
Hopefully-
And come around anytime. All right. Bye-bye.